Hello there, future educators. I am Clarissa Claire Arances. So today, I am going to share with you what I have learned about operant conditioning theory. So, operant conditioning theory is known as instrument conditioning. It is a method of learning that involves rewarding and punishing conduct. Through operant conditioning, an association is made between a behavior and a consequences. It's whether negative or positive for that behavior. Operant conditioning was first described by behaviorist Burrhus Frederick Skinner. His theory was influenced by the work of a psychologist, Edward Thorndike, law of effect, who observed the behavior of rats trying to escape from a homemade puzzle boxes. As we can see in this photo, when the rats press a lever when a green light is on, they receive a food as a reward. But when they press the lever when the red light is on, they receive a mild electric shock. There are three types of responses or operant. First is the neutral operant, which responds from the environment. It neither increases nor decreases the possibility of repetition. Second is the reinforcers. It increases the possibility of the behavior being repeated. It can either be positive or negative. Third is the punishers. It decreases the behavior being repeated. Now let's move on to reinforcement. Reinforcement is any event that strengthens or increases the behavior it follows. There are two kinds of reinforcer. First is the positive reinforcer. It is strengthening a behavior by providing consequences. It's where an individual finds rewards. Second is the negative reinforcer. It involves removing undesirable outcomes after the presentation of a behavior. The removal of anything considered unpleasant strengthens the response in this situation. Now, let's move on to schedules of reinforcement. These are the precise rules that are used to present or remove reinforcers, following a specified operant behavior. These rules are defined in terms of the time and number of responses required in order to present or remove a reinforcer. The first schedule is the continuous reinforcement. This reinforcement schedule is the quickest way to teach someone a behavior, and it is effective in training a new behavior. Like for example, teaching a dog to sit. Each time he sits, you give him a treat. But remember, that timing is important here. You will be most successful if you present the reinforcer immediately after he sits, so that he can make an association between the target behavior, which is the setting, and the consequences or the treat that he gets. Next is the partial reinforcement. These schedules are described as either fixed or variable, and is either interval or ratio. There are several different types of partial reinforcement schedules. First is the fixed interval. Reinforcement is delivered at a predictable time intervals that results to moderate response rate with significant pauses after reinforcement. Just like, for example, hospital patient that uses patient-controlled doctor time pain relief. Second is the variable interval. Reinforcement is delivered at an unpredictable time intervals that results to moderate yet steady response rate. Example, checking your Facebook. Third is the fixed ratio. Reinforcement is delivered after a predictable number of responses that results to high response rate with pauses after reinforcement. Example is piecework. A factory worker getting paid for every number of items manufactured. Fourth is the variable ratio. Reinforcement is delivered after an unpredictable number of responses that results to high and steady response rate. Example, gambling. Now, let's move on to punishment. Punishment is the opposite of reinforcement. It is designed to weaken a response rather than increasing it. Types of punishment. Positive punishment. Punishment by application, which presents an unfavorable event or outcome in order to weaken the response it follows. Example, spanking for misbehavior. Next is the negative punishment. Punishment by removal occurs when a favorable event or outcome is removed after a behavior occurs. Example is taking away child's video game following misbehavior. And that ends my presentation about operant conditioning theory. Thank you and God bless everyone.